Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, guys. Well, oh, that's so weird. My music doesn't want to start. There we go. Okay. Wednesday. Man, yesterday was so crazy. Still thinking about yesterday. What did we do after yesterday? Well, we just keep doing our thing, I think. Morning, Octavius man, I forget how to say your name. Rud Hestra. You've been around for a long time. Have I not? It's weird. I'm like, oh, I can't remember the last time I've said his name out loud, though. Let's go to the charts. Okay, so the treasuries, I would say that's a pretty significant downturn, actually. So, we had this big up move because of the South Korea thing. And when that died down, treasuries sold off a decent amount. And it kind of seems to me that kind of gave some bears free rein to start pushing down again. I think those, the Trump trade guys are kind of still out there in force and want this thing to go lower. We'll see if they can actually work it out. There, some of the economic data is looking a little bit better than last month, so that's probably also a factor here. S&P 500 is looking amazing, though. Let's see here. We need to come and look at that on the daily chart. Good grief. Well, and that doesn't actually even look necessarily overdone either. I mean, maybe we should come back to the moving average, but it's not like crazy above it. Oil had a pretty good move up yesterday. Move that out of the way. Gold and silver, still within their ranges here. Silver, doing a little bit better than it was, but okay, copper, we had a bit of a spike in copper yesterday, and we seem to be holding some of those gains. And what about the currencies? Okay, well, the Japanese yen has given up some of the gains that it's gotten over the past week. I still really like what I'm seeing here in the Japanese yen. Like that looks to me like more like just right. You don't want the yen to be going up too fast or down too fast. Could kind of screw everything up. So that puts the dollar at 106.49. I'm still like anything over 100 seems expensive to me. I am concerned that the value of the dollar goes up too fast and becomes a major problem for various smaller economies. So that's where we're at. And then we did have some not today, that's tomorrow. Yeah, so we have ISM services today at 10 o'clock. So that's the big piece of news that we get. So we'll be waiting on that. In the meantime, I kind of promised that I was going to package together the indicators again. And I didn't do it. Those kids was all over the place yesterday, man. It's like lunchtime. Asher goes to preschool. Yeah, it's preschool. He goes to preschool around lunchtime, and then I get like maybe an hour where I'm only watching Ethan, and I have to go pick up all the kids, which is. I hate that we've established this precedent, but we go pick up all the kids. And that's a bunch of time. And then when they get back, then Asher and Ethan are just like absolutely wild. so I don't get any time to rest. And then, yesterday was we watched Transformers. It was on Netflix, and I turned it on, and for some reason, none of them had seen it. So all the kids watched Transformers. It was kind of funny because Asher, when it gets really intense, man, I don't know. Maybe Transformers is a little bit too intense of a movie for a 4-year-old, because he's like watching Bumblebee get hurt and everything, and he's getting really concerned about it and stuff. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, focus. What was I doing? Okay. Yeah, I had a temporary file here that I wanted to delete first, and then we'll go through here and try and build the package. We getting some news coming through here.
Likely needed over time, and the time may be approaching to slow or pause interest rate cuts. I expect inflation to move to 2%
so we're getting some
over the next
comments
2 years.
from a Fed speaker.
It's important to keep monetary policy options open amid uncertainty. I expect moderation in economic growth and hiring. The labor market no longer overheated or a source of inflation risk. Monetary policy is well positioned for what lies ahead, and there's too much policy easing which carries risks.
Source of
Fed's policy
inflation
rate
risk.
is currently well above the neutral rate, and there is uncertainty over the neutral rate.
Seems like that they're reading the
between
comments
3
as
to
mostly
4%.
hawkish, though. U.S. was not aware of South Korean president's intention to declare martial law. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken tells Reuters in interview, Blinken says, "We are not routinely informed about every decision any partner around the world would make." Dude. See, this is why looking back on the past 4 years, I'm a little bit surprised at how incompetent the Biden administration has been. Like, yeah, Biden was never a particularly competent person, right? But, like, he's got the political chops, and, he's got Obama there, whispering in his ear every day, probably. And I just can't understand how they were able to put together an administration that just, like, fails at every turn. Okay, so I can totally understand you not knowing that the South Korean president was going to do that, but, like, you don't say that. Like, that's a question that you kind of deflect on, rather than, like, trying to defend yourself. Well, we don't know everything that's going on. You guys expect too much. Anyways, the issue here is that, well, okay, I'm generally a Donald Trump supporter, but I'm not necessarily have a whole lot of hope in the government being, especially not the foreign policy apparatus. But we'll see. Maybe Trump and his reputation will be enough. Export. File assembly. Oh yeah, let's see here. Which tab should I use here? so I'll just make it. I call it 332. Let's see here. So we do need, there is a drawing tool. News event that you have to include. I'll include the free ones because that's a different download. Hmm. Another thing we want to add. Strategies. Advanced space strategy and simple market order inbound. Oh, doesn't like it. Let's see here. Maybe it pop out in the output window. Cumulative delta time frame could not be found. Interesting. But I moved that. Let's see here. May have to open it up in Visual Studio here to find out where it's supposed to be coming from. Bruno asks, any profits this week? So I've kind of been on a live trading hiatus as I'm between jobs. So I don't really want to take on additional risk during that time. But we did take a sim trade yesterday that was really amazing. So
Fed's Muslim says possible to pause on cuts at the upcoming Fed meeting.
Hmm.
And at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we expect comments from Fed's Barkin, who's to be interviewed at CNBC Council Summit in Washington. We also expect comments from ECB's McClough, who speaks at the publication of the central bank's second financial stability review of 2024.
I'm gonna put it here. Okay. The only positive delta on the 4 treasury trades over the 500 contracts in the 10-year, all other deltas are negative. Yeah, it's been sold really hard today, hasn't it? It's kind of weird because I'm not quite sure why they're selling it like that. There's more changes than that.
Fed's Muslim says I expect restrictive monetary policy will continue to cool inflation.
I mean, is it money flows back into stock? Is it just the economy looks like it's like the holiday sales and everything else like that looks like it's doing so well that we think. See, my issue is that I think that there are some real weaknesses in the labor market. I'm seeing some real problems in the labor market, and they really need to lower interest rates, or it will spill over
Fed's
into the
Muslim says
larger
chances
economy.
of labor market trouble are low right now.
Wow, CEO of United Healthcare shot in Manhattan. Shares fall 2.7% pre-market. That is crazy. Okay, let's try this again. I'm a little bit worried about jumping on it short though. Like I feel like it's unclear if it's really going to continue through here in our session. Like I wouldn't expect it to move a whole lot until the services PMI, you know?
So ECB's Lagarde says the battle against inflation is nearing completion.
Okay, so there's the thing. Now I'm going to send it to... and give it to D. And give it to Uzi here. And the guys that were doing the testing of the pipe. Let's see.
So a Hamas internal statement says the group has information that Israel intends to carry out a hostage rescue operation similar to Israel's June Nusayrat operation in Gaza.
That isn't even regular news yet.
And Hamas internal statement instructs operatives to tighten holding conditions.
So I kind of wonder on that one, like,
and threatens to neutralize them in the event of an Israeli operation.
what do we think the chances are that that was like a targeted assassination versus, you know, just something crazy happening in New York?
And Feds Muslim says monetary policy is moderately restrictive. And effective Fed funds rate 4.58% on 3rd of December, unchanged from the 2nd December.
I think I need to go back on the chapstick, man. You got to be careful with the chap, because once you start, you know, like you become dependent on it, you know, but it's pretty bad this year. Hey, Korean from yesterday, here to say hello. I don't really know any stocks. Well, stock that's moving right now apparently is United
about
Healthcare.
monetary policy and the election.
But you know what?
On
Our focus is really more on the larger economy. So the big thing that we get today is the services PMI, which is a measure of how well service businesses are doing in the United States, whether they're growing or falling. So that's like one of the most leading economic indicators that we get. It's a pretty big deal. So that's the big thing that we're looking at right now. And I'm just kind of biding my time, waiting for that release. A masked man fired at the CEO and fled eastbound. Police sources told the Post that it was a hit. Oh, that it was like an intentional assassination against the guy, huh? That's great. What's with the liquidity here, man? What's with the liquidity here at these prices? Are the market makers still reeling from the move down that we had off of the Fed speaker? Who was the Fed speaker, by the way? I never caught who it was. Fed's Musalam? Or is it Musalian? I don't know. People don't really carry guns in New York. Yeah. From what Uzi just posted, it sounds like it was a hit job. What that means for the stock, I don't know. That kind of sounds to me, to be honest, like a news headline that like moves the stock but doesn't really change anything, and ends up being a buying opportunity, to be honest. I'm not a fan of playing stocks in the aftermarket. Like, there's this whole thing where, like they've approved a 24/7 exchange now for stocks, I think it was. And everybody's like, how is this going to change the market? Yada, yada, yada. Well, I think that when the New York Stock Exchange is closed, that liquidity in markets is still going to be really questionable. And I wouldn't recommend trading stocks when we're not in session. What's your thoughts when price is falling without any real cumulative delta? So it can happen in short bursts with news, but generally speaking, when price moves without a lot of change in cumulative delta, it's usually due to a correlation. So I think here today, we saw a pretty good move in the treasuries. Here, if I can zoom out a little bit here, we're seeing a really strong dollar. Let's see if I can find where was when it like really started. Yeah, okay, so see right here is about where the treasuries really started to sell. So there is some evidence that, the Japanese yen looking a little weak and the dollar getting strong is a major factor behind why the treasuries have fallen so much. Is JPY okay today, or maybe Samsung? Man, the Samsung is the one that drives me crazy. If they made an ADR, which is like an American depository certificate of sorts, so that you can trade a foreign stock in the United States, I'm sure that if there was an ADR for Samsung in the United States, that it would be super, super popular. But Samsung has no interest in it. So if you want to buy Samsung, you have to have a broker that will do it on the Korean exchange. So it's harder. I'd say it's relatively difficult to get good exposure to Korean stocks in the United States. Check out this block trade in bonds. Let's see. Let's not call it a block trade. Let's just call it a big trade. But I can't really read it. In the SOFR futures. Yeah, I'm paywalled. I used to have the Bloomberg subscription, but it finally expired. I did not find Bloomberg Web to be the greatest subscription. I gave it a chance. I read the Zero Hedge paywalled articles every day, but Bloomberg, I didn't. Very rarely got value out of that. So it's a controversial SCOTUS case today. Like it's going to be, like they're going to be doing oral arguments for it. No, I'm thinking here of our Korean friend. You know, another thing that was real, I think the most crazy yesterday was Bitcoin, man. There's some pretty crazy things. Bitcoin. Oh, challenging laws banning sex changes for kids. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I thought that had just barely been in, like, an appeals court. Because I saw a headline about that earlier in the week, and I didn't see anything about it being in the Supreme Court. Let's see here. What SCOTUS, does SCOTUS blog have anything about it? On Wednesday, the justices will hear oral arguments in what could be one of the most significant cases of the term, a challenge to Tennessee's ban on puberty blockers and hormone therapy for transgender teens. Since 2021, 23 states have enacted similar laws. The Biden administration and families of 3 trans teens argue that the Tennessee law and those like it are unconstitutional. Think might going to be interesting. I think so. We are seeing some decent activity in the treasuries here. I think because there's like trend and because there was a Fed speaker and everything. The market makers are kind of like putting on a strike here. They don't want to touch it. Just checked COSDAQ. And see, it's like too late. You know, it's interesting to me. I expected when I woke up today that I would see a lot more headlines about the situation in Korea. But all I really heard was that the president has agreed to lift the, you know, like make the vote that the legislature, or sorry, what is it? Parliament made to, you know, make that official or whatever. That was the only thing that I had seen, which I thought was a little weird and suspicious. I'm thinking about it now. I'm kind of wondering if maybe the Korean president didn't think that it was going to be as big of a deal. Like maybe he thought, oh, this is just like a clever little political maneuver, and he didn't expect everybody to go all bonkers like this is a coup and etc. 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 You think that that's a possibility? Because otherwise, I just can't explain his behavior. I just can't believe that anybody would be dumb enough to think that that would work. I don't know. It is pronounced Muslim. Oh, there you go. He's talking to me. People are having trouble getting hired, and he is concerned about the labor market if interest rates stay high. Whoa, that's weird. He recorded 9 times at 3:20 and went live at 4:30 because he always makes mistakes. The government did a mistake during live TV. You know, man, this is something that I'm seeing. Yeah, we need an English name for you. call me Aiden? Oh, okay. I researched this topic. He was a lame duck prior. Yes, that's what I was told as well. He thought it was a political stunt. The TP party have a majority in the parliament and have blocked all legislation for a year. Ah. See, that makes more sense. That in his mind it was more of a political stunt, and that he didn't realize that parliament and the rest of the world would basically see it as a coup. As far as I can see, it was a coup. Like, you coming in and saying, like, you can't do any political activity, like the legislature can't even meet, that's obviously a coup. He says they're saying targeted now. Okay, so I saw something else about this. I was just about to say, but then I got distracted. Okay, so the United Healthcare CEO Andrew Whitty kicks off Investor Day, noting that Medicare Advantage headwinds will continue in 2025, but says we're going to demonstrate once again that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And then Forex Live here says, wait, so I don't know where Forex Live is getting this from, because this was not mentioned in this other tweet, but Forex Live tweets, wait, so the CEO of his top subsidiary was murdered 2 hours ago, and he did the speech anyways, and started with, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So are they saying that this was not just a targeted hit, but that it was the second in targeted hits against executives in United Healthcare? Like, the plot thickens. The plot thickens. You know, because, okay, like, if it was a targeted hit, I could see plenty of people unhappy with their healthcare having a reason to attack the CEO of United Healthcare. You know, like a targeted hit, but like really a lone gunman, crazy guy, right? But when you start having like multiple executives attack, that now I have to go into conspiracy theory territory, right? Now you're talking about something much more wild and unusual. So this is, we're going to keep an eye on this story. So I've kind of been thinking after our experience yesterday, that's like, you know, I should change the title of the stream to match current headlines more often. But I'm kind of afraid to put that one in my headline, talking about somebody getting shot. So I think I'll pass on that one. So that gets me thinking. I had this thought this morning. So like I saw this video from a girl that is running some sort of a food app, like a startup for an app that has something to do with like cooking and stuff. And she was complaining that the businesses that do the best are the ones that come from an influencer that already has a big business set up. So she's basically thinking, you know, our business would be doing so much better if I was already a really famous and popular influencer, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, well, like, why does it need to be you? Because that's a space where there's plenty of people, influencers already out there that you can work together with. And why aren't you talking about how difficult it is to work with other influencers, or how exciting, the good and the bad about that? It was a little bit like, But then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, I'm doing pretty good. I have a pretty decent following, especially within my space. I would do want to improve my reach. I feel like we did a pretty good job this year of expanding in the Ninja Trader ecosystem and everything. But then I was thinking about it and was like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't even know who else, like other traders, whether they just have a YouTube channel or a live stream, that are using Ninja Trader. Now there are banners everywhere in the streets saying impeachment. Well, I hope that they do impeach him. Honestly, I hope that they do. But like I was saying yesterday, the thing that always concerns me there is you have one guy come in that does a really terrible job and hurts his party so much, and then the other party gets a complete stranglehold on government, and then very often that other party does unwise things. So I would be that's thinking ahead, I would be concerned about that. Impeach the guy for sure, but you need both conservative and liberal people in your government. There are two sides of the same coin, and you need both to have an effective government. Anyways, so do you guys know of any other day traders that, like, here on YouTube, that use Ninja Trader? So I was thinking about, like, because like the biggest guy kind of in our, like, there are definitely YouTube traders that are like really, really big, but the ones that I can think of that are really, really big are stocks, right? So when I'm thinking like purely futures, the biggest one I can think of is Matt. And Matt, I thought, used Tradovate, right? So I don't think that Matt is using Ninja Trader desktop. So now I'm trying to think about it, like, who does use Ninja Trader desktop? Bye money. Make a list here. Yeah, we'll put it here. I think what I want to do is I want to go around and find other YouTubers that are using Ninja Trader and see how they are using it. And then showing them my indicators and see what they think about my indicators. If there are things about them that they like or don't like, or that they'd like added, and trying to... Oh, does Kellyanne use it? We were talking to her the other day, yeah. So I gotta come over here and look them up. PGA I says, what country are you located in? Matt is using Sierra charts. Oh, that's right. No. You know what? I think that he started using Trade-O-Vate, but he switched to Sierra charts like a while ago, didn't he? I think you're right. Price target upgraded to 27. Dude. So well, bye money is sounds like he is just from what I see on his page already, he is neck deep in the prop firms. So like one of the things that I've been thinking is like, okay, I want to spend more building up our indicator business, let's say. Rob says yes. I want to make a platform. Like I think that, well, let's say the speculator Seth is already a business. Okay. And the main source of the business is YouTube advertising income, affiliate income, and then selling the indicators. And I would like to ramp up the indicator business. Part of that is because we've made some major changes to them and they're in a really good place and you can do back testing with them and everything now. So, I've finally kind of gotten them to that stage where I want to push it harder, So how am I going to do that? Well, one of the things is I want to make more videos because my indicators are complicated, right? Well, some of them are simple. It's like, the dollar index. Okay, cool. You add it and it's the dollar index. If you know what the dollar index is, then you know what to do. If you don't, it would be a great video to have on it, but that's not too complicated of a thing. Some of my order flow indicators explaining what they're doing are really complicated. So I have one video that's like all of, discusses all of them. But really what I should be doing is I should be having one-off videos that try to describe that indicator as simply as possible. Okay, so that's maybe one way that we can talk about it. And I get on the Ninja Trader live stream all the time. So that's another thing that helps. But really I want to amp it up. Like I want to grow. And it usually involves spending money too. So I've been looking at things like, okay, so like do I do advertising on Google and things like that? But this morning I'm realizing no. The best thing to do would be to work with other influencers. Like I had been doing things with people to like or I had been discussing, hey, what if I set up like an affiliate program? And which is kind of like a big mess and hard to deal and all of those sorts of things. But if I was doing it with a select number of influencers, I think that would make a lot more sense. You know what I mean? Let's see here. ChatGPT answered Craig Peacock and Chris Dunn. So, are you doing podcasts? Since I think your podcast is going to blow up. I actually am. Well, this isn't a podcast, but I have in the past. Well, I think I've only done it with one, right? Is there only one? But we had an interview with Gary Norden that was really great, by the way. And people still watch it and enjoy it. And one of my goals for this year is to set more things like that up. So like a long form interview that's going to be like 60 to 90 minutes. My focus, because usually when you talk about traders, right, there's usually like, okay, here's a trader that maybe you've never heard of before that's brought in tons and tons of money and blah, 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 right? Well, I'm more interested in bringing in people from the industry, people that are doing this professionally, like managing funds, or people that are in the academic research. So I have a list of people, and that I'm trying to get a hold of, and I have one that is happening. So come January, we will have more things like that. Amir says nobody uses Ninja. It's kind of, I like, when I started thinking this through, it was kind of funny to me. It was like, like NinjaTrader is one of, if not the most popular futures trading platforms, but I don't see that many of the big influencers using it, which is kind of curious. Especially since, a lot of this is prop firms, and NinjaTrader's all over the prop firm thing, right? But anyways, so I'm looking at these guys that, okay, they're neck deep in prop firms, and I'm really not a fan of the prop firms, and I don't like promoting prop firm affiliate links. I think you're promoting something that's bad for the traders. But I think that my indicators are something that's good for traders. I think that it's giving you good information, especially when it comes to things like the dollar index and the spreads, that I really don't see how people are trading without. So I think that by, pushing this and getting it into more people's hands, because I think that everybody that uses NinjaTrader should have my indicator suite. I think that we're doing real good with that. So if I can go and I can get to other influencers, and I can say, well, like, look, you probably make like $15 every time that somebody uses your affiliate link for a funded trader program, right? But you can make $50 to $100 every time that you sell my indicator suite. I'll just take all of the budget that I'm trying to set aside for, like Google advertising, and just put it into affiliate advertising. Your son was adorable, by the way. He looks like, which one? I think both of them came in, didn't they? But my older son is autistic to the max. He is nonverbal autistic. He understands everything that we're saying, and he can communicate really well now, but he just cannot make words. It's like the parts of the brain that make the sounds, he can't seem to figure out how to make certain sounds. The little one who got, yes, he is cute. He is. The men in my family peak early. That's the problem. Like 4 is like the top. That's like the best that it gets, and then like it's all downhill from there. Reach peak cuteness around 4, and then the rest of your life is downhill. Amir says the reason that it does not have good order flow indicator, and only developers like you or your algo traders are interested in it. I mean, I think that maybe was the case like 10 years ago, but they have a really good suite of built-in order flow tools now. Perhaps, though, it's for that audience. Most people don't want to spend the $1,000 for the license up front, and they only want like a free platform or a month-to-month platform. So that could be one of the problems. I don't know if, like if I was making a CR charts indicator, I don't know if my audience would actually be bigger though. Here, let's do this. Let's check on Google Trends. Oops. didn't, it doesn't, they changed the way that Google Trends works. Good grief. And we want to see the past 5 years. That would be great. 5 years would probably be great. Did I spell Sierra charts wrong or something? Let's try it that way. That's a little better. Okay, but it does show NinjaTrader is much more popular than Sierra. Yeah, market doesn't tend to care about Canadian PMI. I think we'll see a little bit of a pull for the PMI in like 15 minutes. But it's the ISM number, because ISM is the most leading. I'm going to Thailand to escape Korea for 2 weeks. Really? I think you guys will be okay. Yeah, you should go to sleep though. It's late there. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. I appreciate it so much. So, yeah, have a good one. I kind of lost my place there. What was I doing? Okay, so I was looking at Bye Trader, and I was trying to figure out. Okay, so he's not a huge channel, about 20K though. Oh, let's sort his videos by popular. Yeah, he's doing price action. 4 years ago. There you go. Price action trading for beginners. Okay, so here's something that I find funny about price action. So like there's two ways that I see people do price action. One is they look at zigzag and they're basically doing Dow theory. They're like, okay, this is a higher low, so that means that I want to go long, or whatever the deal is, right? So that's one set of things that is really common. And another one that's really common is they see price trading in a range, and so they will wait for the price to come into the key level that they're talking about, and then go, okay, what is the price action like in that spot? Like, did it come down to that really, really quickly? Did it, what are the volume in there? All of these sorts of things. And then based on that, they determine whether it's good for a mean reversion or whether they think that it's going to go through. Right. And that's how I see price action, right? Or that's how I see traders do price action. The people that I've looked at doing that sort of a thing, right? So for this sort of a thing, watching the order flow can be a really, really good indicator for you, right? Like if we're moving through here and I look at the market order imbalance and it's like this, and then all of a sudden it's going down like this, like there's something really happening, there's some real actual delta change here on this latest one, then yeah, that's a good sign that there's a large meta order coming in and that it's going to break out, right? So I'm just thinking here, like as I'm watching Bye Money, or just looking at his videos, and he's talking about price action, and I'm realizing, oh, okay, most of the people that I look at that are using NinjaTrader the majority of them are going to be using price action just because that's what's the most popular, right? So would they even be interested in order flow indicators? You know? I'm checking on another trader with a certain mystical black box, and oh, holy crap, he's getting dominated shorting NQ. Oh, wow. It's not moving up that hard right now, though, is it? What does Aiden trade? I don't know who you're talking about. It's this sheer risk that he piles on. It's absolutely astonishing. Yeah. Oh, right. Aiden. Yes. Well, I don't think that Aiden is necessarily into trading. He just was, he showed up because, you know, of the incident that we had in Korea yesterday. But now I think maybe we've inspired him to be more interested in the market, right? Which I wish I had better access to Korean markets, man. You know, like the sheer risk that's involved just in trading NQ to me is wild. I really can't believe that that people trade that retail traders trade that. So here's this guy's video, and he's talking about, okay, make a chart. He's adding some moving averages to it. He's adding, oh, what is this? Superscript, which appears to me to be some sort of a way of identifying certain bars as something. NQ contracts at a time. Oh my gosh. Is that can't be live? Do you really think? Good grief. You know what though? Like, it wouldn't surprise me, because what we got out of like the leaks from court documents and everything from the whole Vinny thing was that he was basically making like millions of dollars. Like, I think that he had overall lost $1 million or whatever. So like, he was taking everything that he was making from selling his junk and putting it into big trades, and then just losing big on huge trades. And like, so I'm going to talk about this in my next video, on the one on intuition, but there are some things that you can learn that like end up absolutely dominating the network that your mind is building to trade. And one of those is when you make really, really big winners. So things that are amping up risk. So doubling down, taking reversals, always looking for trend days, things like that. When it happens, you will always be looking for that. And so it's best when you're still learning to minimize your risk. Don't take on extra risk. Don't use those methods that utilize, you know, taking on a lot of risk, like a huge stop for a tiny gain. You want to have like equal risk reward, because that gives you the best feedback from the market. But some people, they will have gotten lucky with big trades or whatever the deal is, and then they become addicted to it, right? Like, that's all they can ever see ever after that. And there's a lot of them on YouTube. There's a lot of them on YouTube. Like, the chances are, if you've become a big YouTuber, that you probably are doing that. But 41 ticks on 20. Oh my gosh. How much is that? That's got to be like a couple tens of thousands, isn't it? Literally sleeper 9 minutes. The top of the hour is when the markets will get interesting. And we'll see how they react to that news. Sometimes PMIs end up being a dud, but I kind of think that this one has the possibility of being a big move. Oh, nobody's on live except for me. That's funny. So do I want to call out on the PMI? So on the services PMI, the previous reading was 57 and the expected reading is 57. So that maybe suggests that this number is, actually, sorry, I got that wrong. That's the S&P one. That's the one coming in 3 minutes. I want to be looking at the ISM services PMI. Okay, yeah, they're looking for 55.7 versus a previous reading of 56. I'm concerned that services PMI could come in at like 57. If services PMI came in at 57, I think that the treasuries would sell pretty hard. Now, the caveat to that is there are some weaknesses in the labor market. Are those weaknesses going to be reflected more in the services sector? I think maybe. So I wouldn't look at the manufacturing number and saying that the manufacturing number was hot, so the services number will be hot. Manufacturing number was still below 50, by the way. I should know. But given the way that they've been selling it today and everything else like that, the thing that I'd be most concerned about is that ends up being a little hot. It's too painful. Is he showing like the number, like how much he's losing from it? Okay, thank you. Guys, in 27 minutes of the impeachment thing is going to go to Congress. Okay. He hides the running total. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so what is the NASDAQ? What is the tick size? $20 times the index. So, and he's down, what did you say? 41 ticks. So he's down 10 points on 28 contracts now. Oh, okay, that's only 5,600. That can't be right. Only time he slows down is if he's losing and adding to the loser. I don't know, Uzi, don't knock it. I mean, he probably has made big money from it, right? Okay, so liquidity is a little light because of the S&P services PMI. And it's a little bit lighter than expected, 56.1 versus 57 expected. And so we move back up to the top end of the range. All the schmutz on his chart too, you. But wait, is he using Ninja Trader? He is using. Wait, who is it? Who is it? Maybe we can convince him to use our indicators. Oh, which one was it that we meant? Okay, he's already on my list. I guess I'll find out later. It's not Buy Trader, is it? Or Buy Money? Oh, man. Oh, Vince. Oh, it is. It is. Really? He's still doing crazy stuff like that, huh? Oh, my gosh. It's funny. I kind of just completely forgot about him since that court case and stuff. But yeah. Oh, it's a different channel. That's weird. We're talking about somebody that we don't want to tell you who we're talking about because we don't want you to go over and watch the disaster that's unfolding and make him more popular. Oh man. I tell you what, I'm just going through this list and like, man, they're all so neck deep in the prop firm stuff. It's just so hilarious to me. Man. Oh, we're talking about Vinny E. Mini. Or I think that Uzi's watching Vinny E. Mini. Power of having 20 funded accounts. My gosh. My goodness, man. Okay, setting up Rhythmic Trader Pro risk parameters. That's cool. But if he's using Rhythmic Trader, then how would he be using Ninja? Strategy update. Okay. Taking laggy signals on a micro time frame Renko chart. I had a guy come into chat the other day to say, how come my live results aren't matching my back tests? And turns out that he was running the strategy on like a Kagi bars or something like that. And I was like, oh, well, there's your problem right there. No, I'm not going to say it yet. I'm going to keep going through here. I have a thought, but maybe that's incorrect. So let's keep digging here and see. I guess I could see that mess being exciting if you like discovered trading yesterday, but to me now it's just like a whole lot of yuck. Yeah. See, one of the issues is that people seem to be very much so attracted to just the way that things look. And so if you have an indicator that's exotic enough looking and is aesthetically pleasing, that tends to attract an audience from what I've seen. You know, like if I was really going to trade price action, I think that I would put a chart on here that all of the bars are white. All of the bars are white, and it's just like maybe down bars are empty or something like that. And oh yeah, not Craig Peacock, Craig Haroko. Anyways. So yeah, if you can make it look good, then that kind of attracts people, but there's a limit to it. But it's also interesting that, like, you know, the vast majority of people that I see out there trading, they or like on YouTube or doing price action. Vinny's actually kind of an outlier, right? And the price action people have had it pounded into their heads that you don't use indicators, because their conception of an indicator is an RSI or a moving average, that some lagged indicator smoothing price out, and they don't understand the concept of, but an indicator could also be giving you completely different data and bringing it into the chart as well. Says it, how to multi-prop. I'm just here to tell you guys that is the impeachment thing started? Why actual job is not economy, but I'm just a random Korean math. Oh, you're a Korean math teacher. Hey, do you know anything about like advanced statistics? Because like, man, I really want to. I have a book, but I've never really been able to get through it. Starts in 16 minutes. Okay. What is your indicator? So I have a bunch of them, PGI. So, yeah, we got 5 minutes. Okay, just don't let me get carried away, because the PMI at the top of the hour is important. Okay, so the first indicator that I have that I find really useful is the synthetic dollar index. So dollar index, it's you know, calculated based on a bunch of different currencies. It's been around for almost 100 years now, and there is actually like if you go to TradingView, you can pull up a dollar index, because there's dollar index futures that trade on ICE, but you have to pay like $100 a month to get ICE data. So most retail traders aren't able to look at the dollar index live. So what I'm doing is I'm calculating it live based on all of the FX futures. Seems like actually a really straightforward thing, but there's a lot of strange caveats that you have to factor in with NinjaTrader, and adding additional features like having the bars calculate differently historically versus live. So there's lots of advanced features in mine, because you might be able to find dollar index from other people, but not one as fully featured as mine. Another one that's really important, if I come over here to this chart, this thing right here is a spread indicator. So spread is actually pretty simple, but my spread allows you to create spreads of like 3 to 5 instruments together, and also to display in different ways, like with bars. So this is showing me the yield curve. It's telling me that overall the yield curve has flattened a little bit on the day, which means that they're going to be selling the short end ones like the ZT, the 2 and the 5 year, and then going to be buying like the 30 and the 10. So that's something that you really, really need to be able to, and if you're going to trade treasuries. So that's really, really useful. Okay. Then we get into, well, there's some of these other ones like Alice and the Gap thing and stuff like that. But I'm more interested in talking about the order flow things. So these are all data series that show you what is going on with the depth of market. So for instance, we can see right here, there was like a huge uptick in activity here. This was when there was a Fed speaker made a comment. Okay. We can see that there does appear to be an imbalance this morning in favor of the offers, which is to say that if you add up all of these offers above where we are, it's larger than all of the bids below where we are. This one just below it, the resting orders, this is kind of telling you more about the orders that are kind of all moving around. And what we're seeing right now is that there's more activity on little orders moving around on the bid side. When that switches, that can be a really good sign that there's a change coming in the market. Whether, and it could be a breakout continuation, it could be a reversal, but that's a really good sign that like something's about to happen. Okay. This market order imbalance, this is just telling you, when you look at the market orders, are they more buy or more sell? Because the overall number of orders is always equal. The number of buys and sells is equal, right? Because they have to match up. But which one is the aggressor? Which one is the market order? And when you see a really persistent imbalance, like you're seeing like right here, okay, this is basically a sign that there's a large institutional player coming in and persistently buying that thing over that time period. And that's what creates these sorts of trends. So when you start to see price movement with this market order imbalance starting to move to more off-kilter levels like 55%, that's a good sign that there's a good trend coming in. And especially in the treasuries, when you get an imbalance like that, they tend to persist for a long time. Like you'll come back in an hour and it will still be they're buying. Okay. So that's a really good example there that we got, even though it's, a relatively small move in the treasuries. Okay. Cost basis. So this is the most complicated indicator. Maybe I should talk about this one first because it's the one that almost appears to have like the most efficacy. But okay, so this is basically estimating the market maker's positioning. So it kind of does the theoretical scenario like, what if all of the limit buy orders were taken on by one market maker? What would his average position be? How much of that inventory would he have been able to take off and take a profit on? And what would be the profit and like his like break even zone and things like that? And these lines tend to be places where when you get to them, there's like rebalancing. So I don't know if it matters in this instance. I would normally be looking for them to bounce off of this line, but because it's so close to the news. Okay, so here is the news. Okay, so it was lower than forecast, actually significantly lower than forecast, 52.1 versus 55.7. So that's really pushing them. Wowzer. Okay, so this might be a good example here. If we are able to get to 111.005, which is maybe reaching a little bit too much, but high probability of them temporarily bouncing and that kind of being, where the flag forms. Okay. Similarly now, if we go along and, probably what's going to happen is this is going to flag like this, right? And this will probably come up actually. So let me redraw that. This will probably come up over time. And this will probably flag like this, and it tends to bounce off of that line. Now, this matters more when the market makers are in charge, right? This move right here was what based on what happened, was probably people that knew what the number was going to be because they calculated or something like that, and they were buying it for that. It was a good chance that that's what was happening. So that's why I was like, I ignore this line right now because we're about to have news, okay? Or like when there's a day where like it's our trend day, like it's a real trend day, they'll ride this line like this all the way down, right? Okay, but when it's kind of more of a quiet range bound market and the market makers are in charge, it likes to bounce off those lines. So that's what the inventory. The way that it makes that calculation is really, really complicated. I do have an explanation for it on the channel, but and that's probably too much to go into right now. but the simple answer is I'm looking at the individual orders and where they were filled and kind of gaming out where their position can be based off of that. Riley Coleman also uses NinjaTrader. So I was trying to sort out here. Kellyanne, her channel is almost completely about prop firms. I don't see anything about really NinjaTrader or like how she does her trades or anything like that. Let's look up this one. Craig Coco. Oh, this is a big guy. You say he uses NinjaTrader, huh? Okay, so let's go to his videos. Technical analysis 101. Wow, even his small videos do well. Okay, are they free or so I have a free suite and I have a paid suite. But what I was showing you was the paid suite, and it's $100 for a lifetime license. What we're talking about is that we want to increase the price so that we can spend more money marketing the indicators, and then we want to use the profits from marketing the indicators to make our own platform, because there's lots of things that we want to do that the platform isn't very good at doing, and having our own platform would make better. So like the broader thing, like if I was to give you like, okay, what is it, like the bigger picture of what my indicators do is, or like what's the motivation behind them? The motivation behind them is twofold. One is that there aren't very many good indicators that give you insight into what's happening in the depth of market. I watch the DOM, and these indicators are designed to show you the things that I'm looking at on the DOM. Okay. But the second motivating factor is that if you really want to find like a technical edge and really do like the deep dive programming work on and things like that, it really all comes down to data, and the platforms don't manage data very well. And so my indicators basically allow you to manage that data yourself so that you can actually do back testing on things like order flow, right? So yeah, so I have a comment here, but I still want to go a bit back through these list of channels that you've got for me here to see. Well, let's just go to this Perocco guy's latest video. Basic reading of charts. See, that doesn't look like NinjaTrader to me. That looks like TradingView. Yeah, that looks like he's using TradingView. You told me he uses NinjaTrader. You found it with ChatGPT. Oh, okay. So ChatGPT probably is just lying. Is just hallucinating that he uses NinjaTrader. What do you trade? So I primarily trade the 10-year treasuries. That's my area of expertise. We've been messing around with index futures a little bit lately. Every once in a while, I'll come over and I'm tempted to do the index futures, and then they frustrate the heck out of me and I give up on them. Chris Dunn was found with ChatGPT too. So I'm gonna take this guy off the list. This guy is all about Bitcoin. Chris Dunn is basically a crypto trading channel. Oh, actually, what we do is we do Control C, I think. No, what is it? Shift C. There we go. Ta-da. I'm so amazing with my text editor, yeah. Oh, he's up 11K now, huh? Everyone watching him would have blown their accounts 1,000 times before hitting that with the risk he takes, yeah. But like that's the thing, Uzi, that drives me crazy is that like especially if you're trying to pass combines, like in the short run, that's the best way to do it, right? Like if I want to come in and just make the most money in a day, the best thing to do is to just stake out a position and hang on to it for dear life. You know? Okay, so this guy, here's Riley. My 90-minute scalping strategy. Okay, that is NinjaTrader. So he's showing me pretty naked charts. Yeah, my trading view the ChatGPT can't tell the difference. Yeah. Okay, so now that I've looked through them all, I'm starting to wonder, like, am I larger in the order flow space than I realize? Like, I know that the order flow space is a relatively small portion of the trading community, but like, is there not actually that many? One of the things that I thought was funny is you guys were always, when people talk about order flow, a lot of people would mention Fat Cat, but from what I've seen, he is using price action, not order flow. He kind of experimented with order flow and gave up on it, is kind of what it seems like to me. Okay, Parliament has started. This thing is still showing, well, okay, so since our news here, our market order imbalance has kind of evened out. So I'm not seeing a whole lot of support at the moment for the treasuries continuing on the momentum. So I think so. There's kind of two things. One is that some of the tools that I was going to pick up next, or like the next release, are kind of tools designed to help you back test price action strategies, essentially. At least one of them is. One of them is. So maybe I should be spending. Maybe I should spend more time on that before I talk to people. But I think not. I think that I should still go ahead and like try and talk to people, and because then at like the very least I can show them what we're doing. And see their thinking about it. And I think December would probably be a decent time to be doing that. Of course, the interview schedule is ramped up again. That's live trades would help your cause, proving your indicators, merits, and strategies. Yeah, I know. But now is unfortunately not the time for that. I would say we've kind of been trading with these things for the last 2 years, and in my most recent video, I show you the results of that. So you can see how you work it out. Now, there's a lot more involved than just those indicators, but... Only the Democrat side parties came to Parliament. No signs of Republicans in Parliament? That's interesting. Maybe they're all just afraid to show their faces, man. I mean, if that was my party, I'd be so ashamed. You know, like there's that situation in the United States with the January 6th thing that I really feel people kind of trumped up into a bigger deal than it was. But this guy, he tried to pull on like a full-on coup. Like, yeah, your party's finished. There are parliaments, so my guess would be that another conservative party would pop up and replace them, you know? I'm a little, so with my most recent video about prop firms, I'm a little bit frustrated because I don't think that people understood. Don't think that people understood that the problem with the prop firms is that they give such a limited space for you to work in, and then everybody holds that space up as the paragon of profitability. That people will say, well, if you are a profitable trader, then you should be able to pass the combine. And that's not true. The best traders, the ones that are really seeing long-term success of like 5 years or more, the chances are that their strategy would not fit within the parameters of the combine. The biggest, most profitable professional strategies, I think, are intentionally excluded from the combine. Like, if it's a $50,000 account, why don't they let you hold overnight? And when I look at the comments, I don't think that people understand that, because they're still within that framework of, oh, profitable trader can pass the combine. So my goal should be to pass the combine, then I'm a profitable trader. That's going to be the thing that gets me there the fastest. And then I'm saying, actually, no. You're going to do way better as a trader if you fund your own account and trade in ways that the combine doesn't allow, like swinging. So like a momentum strategy, not swinging like a what people do in their 40s when they get bored of their marriage. Not that kind of swinging. I'm thinking we're up to evens and then back down to fill the volume area at 24.5. Well, I think we could still move up here. Of course, the top line on the upside is like way higher, but I think the thing is we had a pretty decent drop overnight here, right? So, 111 even is a key area, and then who knows how far they can get into yesterday's range. But the problem is with this is that it's the volume's not coming, right? At least not in the 10-year. I guess it's in the 30-year, but I'm not seeing flattening in the yield curve, so it's kind of weird. Right here. Cumulative delta moving up. By the way, I have a version of cumulative delta too. That saves the data so that you can run faster backtests. It looks like it's breaking, though. Maybe the 10-year will just catch up, In fact, let's recenter here because the 5-year really was like, whoop. The 30-year driving the car, yeah, or maybe the 5-year. Because the thing is that I can see the volume imbalance in the 30-year, but I'm not seeing a shift in the yield curve. At least not a significant one yet. It could be coming. That could be a sign that it's coming, right? Could be a sign that we should take flatteners here. Buy the 30, sell the 5. Or actually, I think that the 30 and 10 would probably make more sense in this situation. I don't know if you'd make a ton from that trade, but yeah, if you switch to trading NQ, you would get more followers. A lot of these prop platforms don't allow treasury trading. Says PG. I mean, you're right. I think you're right. We did trade ES for a while, and I would say that the stream was more popular then. Yeah. But like, that's the paradigm shift, though, right? That's the paradigm shift. Is okay. If there's other YouTubers that are also promoting our indicators, right, then it gets promoted through them. And we don't necessarily have to make any changes to our stream, right? What is your favorite video game? Unreal Tournament. Unreal Tournament 2004. Like I was saying the other day, they're like starting to put Unreal Tournament stuff into Fortnite. And everybody's speculating that like maybe they're really gonna like make a full-on Unreal Tournament in there. There may be a point that I'm gonna have to go over and play that, you know. Yeah, that's what I said most. I think that pretty much all of the prop firms that are on Rhythmic at least banned treasury trading. I think you're right. But like that's kind of the funny thing though, is like if you're gonna trade treasuries, like you don't really need the prop firms anyways. Like this is a big thing. So that's another argument I can use against the prop firms is that like, okay, well, if the place where I think that you're gonna have the most informational edge, or that you can develop the most informational edge, is in the treasury market or oil. But you know, if you don't already know about the oil industry, the treasury market is, you know, a place where you can actually learn it all, right? You don't have to have that inside track to understand the treasuries, and they don't let you trade them, right? And you can trade the treasuries with your own account, like on a super tiny account. So, you know, if you want to trade an informational edge, it doesn't even make sense to try the combines. And you're finding a bottom here? I think that they're going to make it at least to 111. Well, there's an uptick. It might happen faster than I thought. So this is a move. The move that we're happening right now is a move that I kind of predicted, but that I poo-pooed because it didn't meet my qualifications, right? Like, I want to see that persistent change in the cumulative delta along with the move, and we're not seeing that. Instead, what we're seeing is that the dollar is falling hard and the treasuries are just following the correlation with the dollar. That's what's happening. And this is where my indicators are, especially that synthetic dollar index, is really valuable, is that I can have all of the different instruments up on my screen and I can understand the correlations and explain why the money is moving where it is. And that's really, really valuable. Okay, big order at 31.5. Wow. So that's what this indicator is showing right here, right? This bottom one. is showing the largest level 2 change that we saw during that time period. And it's basically saying that it's seeing 700 lots moving around now. And it looks like that somebody decided to take him up on it. So there was a collision. So the way that we interpret that is that we are likely to distribute around 111 now. Take the challenge on Top Step with Zian. Did they still allow treasuries on Top Step? Well, why would I bother? I don't know. I don't know. Meh. These indicators, though, do they work with the NQ or the ES? Yes. So let me show you over here. So with the cost basis in particular, it's a little bit different. It can be a little bit different. But you're still seeing. So do you see here on this is a 5-minute chart of ES? How it's like it's hard for them to stay above that line. And then they came down, and so in ZN, I tell you what, man, it's like almost to the tick. It's like almost to the tick, which is what really makes me think that there's something to this model. We're still trying to find a way to like develop empirical evidence to explain what we're seeing here with this model, but you can see how it seems like it's hard for them to get. Right now, the S&P 500 seems to be really range bound and that the market makers are in control, right? And so you can kind of see how it's like, okay, they go through this line and then everything gets rebalanced and comes back up.
Block by.
Now I have these other ones. I have these other ones on another chart over here, hidden behind. Okay, so you can see here with the level 2 activity in particular. Okay, this is the open right here. This is the open right here. And then you can see the increase in activity after the release. Now, interestingly enough, there's... no, I think that one's the wrong... did I not have this one fixed? Yeah. I made a change the other day, and so it's this on this particular chart, it's not up to date. Sorry, where is it? Where's the calculate method? No. I'm wrong. There we go. On each day. And then I'm gonna have to come in here. Hold on a second. I'm just going to delete all of my yes market order imbalance data, actually. Okay, there we go. So now we can see the correct values here. There is a bit of a persistent buy, right? So if I was going to take a trade right now in the S&P 500, I would probably be looking to pick it up somewhere around or below 60.77. So like it's from maybe here, and buy it because there appears to be a persistent buy imbalance. Now, ES is a little bit of a different beast because there's a lot of randomness involved, right? That's why I like to show it on ZN, because when you show it in ZN, it's so clear, right? In ES, there's all of this other, noise and things happening that kind of makes it hard to really understand what's going on. That's why I don't like trading ES, is I really think that a lot of it is just gambling and that you don't actually have an edge. I think that most of these people are just using methods of taking on risk. I've always wondered how the ES price is determined. Is the order flow real, or can the markets move without actual orders due to price calculation? Yes, it's the latter. So the volume that you're going to see in the ES is going to match the volume that you're seeing in the stocks pretty well. But the stock is ultimately the determining factor, right? So if the stocks move up, the market makers in ES are going to adjust their bids and offers to adjust to what the stock is doing, right? So the issue with ES futures is that there's a lot more order flows that you have to consider, because the hedging order flow in ES is like completely different, right? There's a lot of different ways that people are hedging in ES, including all sorts of trades that they might be taking with options and so forth, right? Like somebody might be putting on a huge trade and you see them selling the futures, but it's actually a bullish bet because of the way that the options are structured, because of what options they're buying, right? So that's where it gets really complicated on ES, right? But that's just like the problems of trading ES, right? Like I think that you're still better off understanding the order flow in that thing. Want to see it on NQ? Well, I was just showing you on ES. So what I have open right here is the indicator on ES. Yeah, I think that to do what we do in treasuries in ES is really incredibly hard, because there's like a dozen other things that you have to factor in that we don't have to worry about as much in the treasuries, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that's like the only way to have an edge, but I think that what most retail traders are doing is mostly random, and the people that appear to be having success, they're taking on a lot of risk. Like they're, they could let it go like super, super huge against you. But they're only going to take a teeny tiny little win. And that's going to give them this insanely huge win rate. And most of the time that works, except for the one time that they actually do get stopped out. And then when that happens, they blow the account. And that's what most of these people are doing. It's really that simple. Corn is still a nice trade. Yeah, corn would probably be a good place. That's the thing with the commodities. If you're going to get into one of the commodities, you really have to understand that business. And I personally have found it very difficult to find information on those sorts of things, because the way that people learn about these things is working in those industries, right? You don't learn that nobody's talking about it online. Okay, well, the S&P 500 never went down to the place that I would have preferred to have gotten long, but a pretty decent flow in favor of the longs really came through there, didn't it? So let me approach this, because I've just been answering questions and I haven't been able to approach my indicators the way that I would approach them. Okay, so I really think that the thing you should look for is empirical evidence, right? So there's lots of people that will say, oh, well, you do this and you do this and it does this pattern and all these sorts of things. But how do you know? This is my problem with all of the price action stuff, is that Everything that I'm seeing from people, there's no evidence, there's no empirical evidence backing them up. And when I back test them, they don't work. And that's why my conclusion is that the people that think that they're having success with it, it's probably coming from their risk taking, and there's not any actual real edge to what they're doing. Okay, so the best kind of empirical evidence you're going to find in like peer-reviewed studies. And there's a peer-reviewed study that basically they look at the sign of orders. That is to say, whether the market order was a buy or a sell. And what they find is if you go and you just look at any one individual order, you pick up an order at random, and it's a buy. Then you come back an hour later, and you pick another random order, there's a 0.5% chance that that random order that you pick an hour later will also be a buy. Okay, so there is a very strong autocorrelative effect behind the sign of orders. Okay, this is an empirical result that's been verified many, many, many times. So what happened was the researchers started to go, well, like, why is this? Is it because I see other people buying, and so I decide to buy, and that makes the effect stronger, and so other people decide to buy, and all these sorts of things? So people were making all of these models, because there are things like that in physics. Like, that's kind of how uranium works, right? That's how like a breakaway chain reaction happens in uranium, right? So they tried using those models, and those models did not recreate the effects that we were seeing in the markets, especially not the long memory. This fact that you see this imbalance persist for a very, very long time, and what's with that. And then after the move has happened, the market remembers it and like stays there instead of just coming all the way back down. And eventually they came to a theory that, well, maybe it's just because of large orders. So they got these guys that were or they paid like banks and stuff for their order flow, and looked at, you know, order flow where you could see who was doing what, and you could see these really, really big players. And when these big players were buying something, it would last all day, if not multiple days. Basically, the amount of liquidity out there that's available is nowhere close to the amount of liquidity that these big guys need to actually do stuff. So that's the issue, is like, you as a retail trader, I mean, you do have a measurable impact on the markets, but you know, it's super tiny. Okay, but any institution, every institution is large enough to have a significant impact on price and basically screw up any of your individual trades, right? You come in and you decide to buy any other large institution that's there in the market, and they're going to sell, you're going to lose. And it doesn't matter what pattern or whatever you're seeing in there, right? So that's what creates this persistent imbalances. It's what we call a meta order. It's a large order being executed over time, right? So that's the empirical backing that we have for the market order imbalance. And this is the indicator that I think is the most useful, order flow wise at least, right? Yeah, your indicator seems like it worked better with ZN or ZB. Well, the inventory cost basis, that might be true. Inventory. The funny thing about the inventory cost basis is that I originally looked at it to trade ES, and I mean it does do pretty well on ES. But it's, well, so NQ is got some issues though. Let me show you NQ. Because NQ is just so pickin' volatile, man. And there's not a lot of flow. So we're going to do 1 minute, 1 day. Opened up on the other window. inventory cost. We'll also add the companion on there. And I think that there was the oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Reset on session. Oh, you know what? There's another thing is that like what your session template is kind of matters in this case, because you want it to reset at the regular session. Let's see here. Why not have these other ones in here? Okay, well let's just set it up on the RTH session for a second. Okay, so now that it's on the RTH, you can kind of see, right? Boop. Boop. We are in a pretty good trend, so you will see it tend to ride this thing. Is that kind of a little bit more, you know, what we're doing here? I'm just realizing though that I would really like those 3 session templates now. Let's go grab those. I think I had them over here. Where do we put the session templates? Trading hours. Index features 3 sessions. Let's see if I open it up in trading hours now. CME US index futures. 3 sessions is not showing. Maybe I have to restart NinjaTrader to see it. Seth wrote carnivore, but he doesn't want to brag about it. So can I tell you something else, though, about my indicators? The bigger picture thing here is not the edge in any one individual indicator. I mean, these are all things that we came up with based on empirical evidence that we saw out there. And the idea here is really to be able to back test things and you know, do as much research on our trades as we can. And so what that means is that any idea that you have that you're having a hard time back testing is a potential for us to write something new and include it in the suite. And the advantage that you get from buying my indicator suite is that I'm very available and I'm extremely good at programming this stuff. I can make anything. And so anything that you're coming in and you're using and you have a good case that like there's some evidence that backs it up, or even at this point, the things that are popular and we want to see if we can get the evidence to back up, right? It becomes a good candidate for an indicator, right? That's why I think even though most of the other people I see using NinjaTrader are doing price action strategies, I think I'm still going to go ahead and try and talk to people and see what they're doing so that I can look at ways of making indicators and things to test those and or to get them on board, essentially. Because if we're going to make a platform, the reality is if we're going to make a platform, the platform is going to have to be broad enough to work for everybody that's trading, even the people that are doing things that I think are kind of silly and a waste of time, right? Here on the stream, I want to make sure that I'm only giving you guys information that I can back up, that I know is good information, right? But when I'm providing a platform, my job is to provide a platform that works for what people want to do and not necessarily to try and influence them on what sort of strategies they should be using, right? So yeah, I really want to get the index futures thing to work. The trading hours thing to work. Is it on there and it's because I have underscores on it? No. Because I would expect it to come out there. Maybe in the XML there's like a name or something? There's the name. You see me, US Index Futures 3 sessions. Okay, I'm hearing on the news squawk that the measure to impeach the South Korean president is in there now. Are you familiar with MoonDev? No. Are they using NinjaTrader? Actually, it looks like he's trading Bitcoin. Oh well. Maybe it will pop up in the list even though I'm not seeing it over there. You must have to reload NinjaTrader to get it to work. Well, I think we can do that now. You know, while I'm at it, I have on here, because I was having a chain problem with, I think it was this one? Yeah, and so I changed the stuff to debug. Oh, but do I have that on all of these, though? I sure hope that I don't have that on all of these. Okay, well, let's just restart NinjaTrader real quick. Okay. Let's see now if we go into the data series and we go to CME Index Futures 3 sessions. There it is. Ah, better. So look at that. Oh, where is, you know what else we should do in here? Data series. And, oh, where is it? Trace marker, Doji, paste load, break end of day. Do I not have it on these data bars or something? Oh, there it is. Trading hours break line. Let's just make it like slate gray. Dot. There we go. Okay, so now you can see it more clearly how this tends to work. Right. Don't do those when we're in a trending market. But when we're in a market that you think is mean reverting and there's like not a lot of news going on and you think that the market maker is in charge, it gives good signals. It gives scary good signals. Right? Like you're probably used to seeing something that's like, okay, here's this line, and then they say, well, here was this one instance where it went through the line and then it reversed, right? But have you ever seen one where it's like almost every time that it touches that thing, there's a reaction to it? Now, one other caveat I'd give to this is that the longer, the later in the day it is, the less accurate the estimate's going to be. So you also have to factor that in. Like after the London close, it's not as good. Although one thing that I do find is like, say we're up here, right? And we're hugging this line, and then like some sort of devastating piece of news comes out, we will go down to this other line like every freaking time. Like if there was some way to know, like, if the news was coming, yeah, I can tell you exactly where it's going to stop and you can take the profits. So it's kind of, these make really good lines to take profits at. The way that I and the crazy thing about it is, it's only $100. Dude, there are people, they're selling like, what's the Ishimoku clouds and stuff for like $300 to $500 just for the one indicator. And I'm giving you this whole suite of tools that allows you to do stuff that allows you to do more advanced analysis of the market on an empirical level. And it's only $100. It's a crazy good deal. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned a couple of years ago that you stated that no indicator had an advantage on the market in the long run. Do you still affirm this? So let's not say no indicator has an advantage on the market in the long run, but any time that you find an inefficiency in the market, trading that inefficiency is going to remove that inefficiency from the market, generally speaking. Now, some inefficiencies are created by like the structure of the market. So in those cases, those inefficiencies aren't necessarily going to go away so much as it is that they become more competitive, right? Like somebody's making money from it. Maybe it's not you. So that's where you know, like if you find an advantage like that, you take advantage of it and don't tip the rest of the market off to it, so that you've built yourself up enough so that when other people do figure it out, you still beat them to the punch because, you know, you're so much faster in all of these sorts of things, right? Okay. So there's that side of it. There are some inefficiencies in the market that are just really massive. So that's the case with momentum, right? Momentum is an inefficiency that we've known about in the market for a very, very long time. And it's only now, like 30 years later, like after 30 years of people making money from momentum strategies, that we're starting to see signs that maybe that alpha is starting to decay. Right? So that's another side of it. If you're asking this question in relationship to my indicators, though, the key thing that you got to remember here is that I am not trying to provide you a specific strategy or a specific edge. I am giving you a tool that is advanced enough for you to be able to find your own strategies and edges with them. Basically, what I'm saying is, look, this is data that you're not seeing. There are things and ways of filtering the level 2 to give you real-time information about the market that most retail traders don't see and can enhance your trading in many situations just from looking at what's going on here. There's something going on in the ES on this last sell. There was a big change in the volume there. Okay, that's something you want to keep in mind if you're trading this. Okay, because I would no longer be looking the long. In fact, like them coming back up there and everything, and on not a lot of volume, kind of. I don't like trading ES, of course, so I'm not going to do anything. It's time for me to go, but I'd be looking for a short there. You have a theory like that, you now have the tools to go into NinjaTrader and program it yourself and say, okay, when this particular situation happens, and I look over the last year, and I've been saving, or however long I've been saving this data, it's saving it for you. How often has it actually happened? Does it actually turn out the way that I think it does? You can actually do the data. Wow. Okay, the treasuries are just coming through there. So like something's happening. That might be another South Korea headline that we're not getting through the news squawk yet. Could be what that's about. I guess, though, after all of this discussion, if you know of any... No. Oh, we just got disconnected. We're back. We're back, so I hope you're still with me here. If you know of any YouTubers, influencers, whatever, that are using NinjaTrader, well, I want to know about them. They're using NinjaTrader, but then ones that are specifically looking at order flow as well, I would like to stalk them. Well, stalk them and maybe set up meetings with them. So, but I think it's time to get going. So I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to try and record today, I think, actually. So we'll try doing that. And hey, you know what? Remember when I was like, okay, there was like those big orders. That's kind of be a stumbling block. Well, they had a pullback, but then they came back to it, and they've kind of been hanging out in this area for a while. Maybe after we're gone, they'll have the oomph to go for a new high, because, you know, I think it's not until like what, 06 that we're like at intraday highs. So Octavia says great day. Well, the trade today was a pretty good one if you took that reversal. Oh, it never really, at least in the 10-year though, it never really played out in a way that I would have actively taken a really high conviction trade. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It really is probably primarily the dollar moving, huh? Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna get going. Stay excellent, team.